Здорово, бандиты. Еще раз привет. Теперь все будет четко. Я предыдущее удалю. Поехали. Сейчас, одну секунду. Все. Вот теперь все четко. Поехали. Вот теперь точно ничего не пропадет, трансляция не упадет. Только одну буквально секунду. Сейчас я оповещалку кину в ВК людям. На это видео. Ну, в ВК людям. Поехали.
Don't I know you, sir?
Don't believe so. I haven't been here in many years. Name's Silas Greaves.
Silas Greaves? The bounty hunter?
Used to be.
Ah, well, what are you doing here in Abilene?
Just passing through. Got a little business to take care of.
Well, sir, it would be an honor if you would allow me to buy you a beer.
Hell, son, it would be my honor to drink it.
I'm Molly. Howdy.
I'm Dwight. That's Jack and Steve. Ben's behind the bar. Oh, I bet you got some great stories.
A couple.
Any of them true?
Jack, be nice.
A few.
What about your shootout with Henry Plummer's gang in Bannock, Montana? Is that where you started as a bounty hunter? That's what it says in this here dime novel.
Don't believe everything you read in them dime novels, boy. First man I hunted was back when I was riding with Billy the Kid.
You knew Billy the Kid?
Damn right. That scrawny son of a bitch had no fear. Wouldn't back down for nobody.
I heard he collected the 10 stars off any crooked lawman who crossed it.
It was a war, boy. The Lincoln County War. And Billy promised his regulators would take the life of every bastard who helped bushwhack John Tunstall.
Kid had a big chip on his shoulder and a hair-trigger temper. Made him dangerous as hell.
Пускай здесь и английская озвучка, но здесь русские субтитры. Нажмите, чтобы начать игру. А я думаю, блин, заставка, думаю, что такая долгая.
It was about 30 years ago. Billy was hiding out in an abandoned farm near Stinking Springs. I threw in with the kid because the man I had sworn vengeance on was riding with Billy's enemies. But before I tell you why I want that son-of-a-bitch dead, let me tell you what happened that day. I was heading back to the hideout when suddenly I had this funny feeling.
Funny, haha.
No, Steve. The other kind of funny.
Нажмите О, чтобы открыть задание.
You heard that. You need to stay here and keep an eye on the road.
That's not fair. We're missing all the fun.
I knew those two morons would never let me through. I had no choice.
Hell, shoot that sumbitch!
Вы зарабатываете опыт, убивая врагов. Опыт необходим для перехода на новый уровень и получения дополнительных способностей. Нажмите пробел, чтобы продолжить. 2 хедшота.
Was it Pat Garrett's posse?
Oh yeah. I heard the shots and I knew I had to move fast.
Он сам, я слышал, спасите Билли Кида.
Garrett and his army of deputies had surrounded the entire homestead. I decided to help Billy and the boys out of
Ваш
it.
индикатор концентрации
So that's just what I did.
Нажмите пробел, чтобы продолжить. Нажмите Q, чтобы войти в концентрацию.
As the governor of New Mexico was paying for the kid's apprehension, Garrett was able to hire every gun hand in Lincoln County.
Трубочки. Кто сказал, что я там? Сейчас сама кажется трубом. Используйте Ctrl, чтобы пригнаться. Как не пройти туда? А, вот она как. Не секрет. О, вы достигли нового уровня. Нажмите U, чтобы открыть меню навыков. Теперь у вас есть 1 очко навыка. Перейдите в одну из 3 категорий и приобретите крайний левый навык. Стрельба с 2 рук. Меткий стрелок. По револьверу в каждой руке. Возьмите 2 револьвера и устройте им ад. Имея с собой револьверы. Прокрутка вверх или 3, чтобы взять по стволу в каждую руку. Да, хочу.
Garrett's man was running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off.
These some bitches running!
Still, one of them reached the water tower.
Вы можете вернуться от пуль только когда индикатор часов
Not a
заряд.
bad idea. It would be a turkey shoot from up there.
Влево и... Ну, понятно. Все?
Luckily, these shooters Garrett hired learned the sharpest tools in the shed.
Да я, походу, тоже.
A lot of them were saddle tramps or sod busters or drunken drifters looking to make a few bucks.
Всем привет, кто только подключился. Это пускай с третьего раза, но тем не менее стрим по игрухе в жанре вестерна. Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Игруха 2013 года, я думаю, должна быть. Стрелял там по мне.
Then, I heard a friendly voice yelling at me from the window. Back door! We'll cover it! Truth be told, things weren't much better behind the house. Cut their numbers in half. But that just made the ones that were left twice as bad.
Половинил это больше на что что-то там. Не успеваю читать.
They made up for their lack of skill with a seemingly endless supply of ammo.
Блин, патронтасов мало осталось. Присев на контур. Где вы стреляете? А, вот собака.
It was a bit of a slog, but I finally fought my way around the back of the house.
Части дома.
And like that, I was inside, none the worse for wear.
Ай, свои.
I passed Dirty Dave.
Грязный Дэйв.
And upstairs I found Billy and Charlie Bolton.
Ну, секретик. Поехали дальше. Чертовски умен, 21 убийства к 21 году.
Billy looked at me and said, "About time, amigo. Grab a gun and get to the window."
Wait, so you were friends with Billy the Kid?
Yeah, sort of.
Вроде того.
Anyway, we were surrounded by dozens of deputized shooters who wanted to do us harm.
О, да с этого, блин, можно наваливать даже.
I'm telling you, Garrett's men were dropping like flies, but they just kept on coming. That's when Charlie got
Ребята,
hit.
знаете, Чарли словил.
They're catching us in a crossfire.
Они накрывают нас перекрестным огнем.
Get to the other side.
Бегом на другую сторону. Давайте навык вкачаем. Что у нас там открылось? Глубокие карманы, меткий стрелок. Возможность носить больше патронов для револьвера. Во. Ништяк.
I don't know how many of those cocksuckers I personally put down, but it was pretty clear, even to Billy, that maybe discretion was the better part of valor.
What's that mean?
It means that it was time to cut and run. They got a Gatling, Billy shouted. Get the horses and bring them round back. I'll draw their attention. He directed that order at me, and I thought, why the hell do I have to do it? But I went anyway. Dumbass that I was back then.
Those poor sons of bitches are
Many
done
would have
for.
fled in my place. But I had that false sense of invincibility that many young men had. Like Jack here.
What are you saying, old man?
Jack is just joshing with you.
Yeah, he better be.
Mr. Graves, please continue.
Please, call me Silas, man.
Ты думал от меня скрыться?
Now, where was I?
You were heading for the barn.
Gonna gut you like a fish.
Рукопашный бегун. Опа.
Making my way past a passel of fallen foes.
Bad, not bad. О, смачно. Смачная плюха на трипл хилл.
Sounds like Garrett hired a whole regiment of hired guns.
Yeah. And just when I thought I was done with them, more of these different bastards would pop up. Finally, I had the stables
Конечно,
within my reach.
подобрался, конечно. Слухай. Что за них ничего не дают? Или я такой кривой косой, что мне уже зовут не дают.
And that's when I met Sheriff Pat
Шериф
Garrett.
Пэт Гарретт.
I read that you went toe-to-toe with
Я
him,
читал,
sir.
что вы встретились с
That
ним один на один.
backstabbing
С этим
bastard
подлым
with that
ублюдком,
tacked-on
нацепив на
tin star.
себя звездочку шерифа. Ох, дуэль. Сейчас нас научат, как дуэлиться. Хороший собой, неуклюжий. Ну что, проверим, у кого самая быстрая рука на Диком Западе.
You challenged him to a showdown.
И
You
вы
read that in a
прочитал в своем
dime
горшовом
novel?
романе?
It said he showed no fear as he
Сказано, что
took
в
your
глазах
measure
его не
with
было
eyes
ни
like
капли
a
страха,
rattlesnake.
когда он смерил взглядом гремучей змеи. Так, используйте мышку, чтобы следить за противником. Нажмите пробел, чтобы продолжить. А когда стрелять? Когда ваш противник потянется за револьвером, нажмите левую кнопку мыши, чтобы достать свое оружие. Прицелитесь с помощью. Затем стреляйте.
And that you killed him in a fair fight.
Немножко я
Is that
тупанул,
what that
раньше
penny
выстрелил.
dreadful said? No,
Но я
boy.
показал
That ain't what I
пару.
meant when I said I met Pat Garrett.
Я не это имел в виду.
So let me start again. I finally reached those
Давно.
damn stables.
Хорошо. Ты его встретил по-другому? А теперь как был по-настоящему.
Stepped inside,
Переступил порог
and
и бах.
last thing I heard was
Последнее,
Garrett's
что я слышал,
voice.
был голос Гаррета. Это не
That's
Билли.
not Billy.
And go on. How did
Продолжайте,
it
чем
end?
все кончилось?
And,
Кончилось?
boy,
Это было только
that
начало.
was just the beginning.
Любимая награда в голову. Честно убита дуэль. Фокус 86, скорость 52. Будем наверстывать. Похоже, все оказалось довольно просто. Не хотите сменить сложность? Не-не-не. Нет, спасибо. Пока нет. Пока мы учимся, потом, может быть, сменить.
So what happened? Did
Так что
Garrett arrest you?
произошло? Гаррет арестовал
Yeah.
вас? Да.
After I
Как
came
только пришел
to,
в себя. Ублюдок вырубил
bastard had
меня,
clocked me
мне
with
по
his
башке
Colt.
своим кольтом.
And
And the kid surrendered?
When he realized there was no getting out of there alive.
So they locked you up in Lincoln?
Indeed they did. Sentenced me to hang right along with the kid.
Погнали.
It's
Миссия номер 2.
important to know that I was only riding with Billy so I could find the bastard I was after.
Так, нас поймали, хорошо. Тюрьма Линкольн. Через 4 месяца после ареста Сайлоса Грифса.
He was with John Kinney's gang. And they were sworn enemies of Billy's regulators.
И они были заклятыми врагами.
Why were you after him?
Почему вы
I owed that son of a bitch a bullet for what he had done to me and mine.
на пулю.
Instead, all I got for myself was a goddamn death sentence. Luckily, it was right around then that I heard Billy make his move. He shot Jim Bell and a few other guards as he made his getaway. Later, they wrote that some lady friend planted a pistol for him in the prison. What the papers didn't say is that Billy helped me escape too.
Красава, мужик.
My first order of business was finding a firearm.
Моя первая задача была найти ствол. Новый уровень. Так. Перезарядка на бегу. Более долгие комбо. Тикает Беликита найден.
Luckily, I located Deputy Bob Oliver's mean-ass shotgun.
Красавчик. 50 калибра. Громкая, как динамит. Может ударить человека пополам. Найс, найс.
I saw Billy through the window, and he yelled that I should take to the rooftops to make my escape. So I did.
Anybody see Billy?
Hell yeah. That scatter gun was like a double-barreled howitzer. It could blow a man clear off his feet.
Ну ладно.
You hardly had to aim the damn thing.
С такой шуткой? Да, ну да, с такой
The kids escaped and raised a huge ruckus.
Нет, цель надо.
Guards were everywhere looking for him.
Законники были повсюду, искали его. Нажмите О, чтобы открыть задание. Скройте дверь по крыше.
I had to jump from roof to roof like a damn alley cat. I followed the planks where I could, but some of that wood was slippery as hell. The whole town was up in arms. And suddenly, I was a fugitive.
И куда? Вниз?
How the hell did the kid escape?
А, вот туда.
Dad's gonna kick our ass! Can't have gotten far.
So that bastard you were after.
А это блюдо,
What
с
did he
которого
do?
охотились, что он
He did
сделал?
me and my family a grievous
Он нанес
harm.
тяжкую рану мне.
But I knew if I was ever going to
Я знал,
find
что если
him,
хочу
I
все-таки
would need
найти,
to
то
get my
должен
ever-loving ass
спасать
out
свою
of there.
наглядную задницу.
I tried to be stealthy
Я спрятался.
and sneak my way past.
This town doesn't have a moment's peace.
Мне бы вот эти патронтасы бы.
But hell, if they weren't all waiting for me. Apparently, some of them thought I was Billy.
Да ё-моё.
You hooligans belong.
kid shared a certain similarity in build and color.
Немножко похож по комплекции.
I was just glad I had Deputy Bob's mean-ass shotgun.
Но дробовик дробовиком.
Surrender yourself!
They're shooting in the streets!
Put down your weapon!
There's children here.
So much lead was whizzing by my head, it was like everyone in Lincoln wanted to put me in the ground. I knew I needed to find a horse. Though I never did have a great fondness for those four-legged grass eaters. Smelly, sweaty, ungrateful beasts. We prize them too high, if you ask me.
Headshot.
You won't get away with this!
Оп. А, да, сюда.
That sounds going to hell in a handbag!
But where was the kid while you were
Ну, где
busy
же был
getting
кит,
shot at?
пока вы танцевали под пулями?
Gone.
Именно тогда
And that's
стало
when it
ясно,
occurred to
почему
me
Билли
why
освободил
Billy
меня.
set me free.
И тишина.
There he is!
So I could be a hapless
сложил
decoy and
команду,
draw
как
attention
всё
while
внимание,
he
пока он
snuck out
убирался
of
в дом.
town.
Ого.
I knew if I made it out of there in one piece, no one would put a price on my head.
Because everybody in Lincoln would be dead?
No, because they all thought I was Billy,
Все думали, что я
and
Билли.
all that blame
Все
would
обвинения
fall on
свалили на него.
him. Meanwhile, Deputy Bob Ollinger was organizing a posse to put me down. He was already a mean son of a bitch, but he was doubly pissed that I stole his mean-ass shotgun. Anyway, it was me or them, and the only way forward led me straight to perdition. But the cards were
Карты
dealt,
были
and I had
сданы.
no choice
Мне
but
ничего
to
не
play
осталось,
'em.
как сыграть партию.
You can run, but you can't hide forever!
А, вон.
We can take him!
пожалуй, 2 пистолета здесь. С левой руки лучше хеды раздавать. Пацаны, вы добавки хотите? А, вот он. Когда ты косой мужик. Ребятки, он тут гроб подвезли.
Finally, I found what I was looking for. The stables on the edge of
Наконец нашел
town.
то, что искал.
I guess Billy saved your ass, taking out Bob Ollinger the way he did.
Billy didn't kill Bob.
Билли не убил Боба.
Sure he did.
Конечно,
Dispatched
убил.
him right after he shot Deputy Bell.
No, sir.
Нет,
Because
сэр.
Bob came
Боб
right up
прямо
behind
за
me,
спиной
angry
ярости,
as
что
hell
Билли
that Billy
улизнул.
had lit out. Hello, Bob.
Привет, Боб, сказал я. Думаете,
I
лучше
think you better let me go. And he says,
А он ответил.
I don't think
Ни
so,
за что,
boy.
сынок.
Not with
Только
my
не с моим
shotgun.
дробовиком.
So we stood there in the
И
middle
мы
of the
стояли в
street.
самом полном
Eyeball to
только я и
eyeball.
он лицом к лицу.
He intended to kill me, and I knew I had no
Возможно, для
choice
меня
but to
и наш
defend
мир.
myself.
Как сложно фокус настроить. Ладно. Но все же было не так. Начнем еще раз.
I killed him in a fair
Я убил
fight.
в честной схватке. Каждый
Everybody
из
saw I
меня
had
был
no
выбора.
damn choice.
Вот это уже лучше.
Well, Lincoln got a mite depopulated that day.
Население Линкольна слегка
That
уменьшилось.
Garrett gunned down Billy 3 months
Гаррет
later.
просто убили
So
3
his
месяца
escape
позже,
was
поэтому побег
off
все
and
равно
on
ему не
anyway.
помог.
So where'd you go after Lincoln?
И куда вы отправитесь?
Mexico.
В Мексику.
Until I realized
Я там до
nobody
тех пор
was
пока не
looking
понял,
for me.
что меня
I
не
ended up
ищет.
taking a job at the Rurales.
Начал
The
работать в
Mexican
Juarez.
Rurales?
I was hired to help them track down the
Мне
cowboys.
наняли помочь выследить ковбоев.
The most vicious outlaw gang in Cochise County?
Самый жестокий
Curly Bill
головорез
Brocious?
в
Johnny Ringo?
Led by old man Clanton himself.
Крочес.
They must have paid you a pretty penny to take them hombres on.
Not really. But truth be told, I had my own reasons for going after those boys.
Ковбой представляет собой огромную банду во главе со стариком Клентоном. Курчавый Билл и Джонни Ринго были одним из самых смертоносных стрелков. Дробовик идеально подходит для ближнего боя. Да, мы уже поняли.
So was the bastard you were after now riding with the cowboys?
Roscoe Bob Bryant was his name.
Oh.
But no, this time it was a different bastard I was after. The aforementioned Mr. Ringo. And yes, he was working for old man Clown.
Перезарядка на бегу.
I came upon them robbing a stagecoach, which wasn't surprising, being they were such murderous thieves and bastards. The bandits wore red scarves, so I knew they worked for the old man.
Over there!
I did my best to help those poor passengers.
Easy.
Moments later, the attackers were dead.
Через несколько
And I checked the stagecoach to see how many passengers were still breathing.
Да никого нет.
None.
Ни одного.
It was then I wondered if the rocks weren't hiding more bandits. Was that all of them? Or did I just hit the rear guard? I quickly got my answer. They attacked from on high like Apaches often did. They would appear in great numbers from above and rain down lead on their hapless enemies' heads, making use of the high ground and whatever else they had. Yep, the Apaches always appeared out of nowhere, and there never seemed to be an end to them.
Hold on. Were you attacked by Apaches? What happened to the cowboys?
Did I say they were Apaches? I said Clanton's cowboys attacked me Apache style. I was in a pitched battle, but I was holding my own against an overwhelming enemy force.
Shoot that running son of a bitch!
See, at the time, I was still pretty green and would often blunder into regrettable situations. But I just kept shooting at anything I could see up in those damn rocks. I didn't see Ringo, but I knew he was with the cowboys. He and Roscoe Bob had done me a dreadful wrong, and I was determined to have my revenge. But to get to Ringo, I knew I'd have to fight my way past these other assholes first.
Пошли меня. Не спас. Хера, что за игруля? Такая от первого лица вестерн. Шутерский вестерн, скажем так. Call of Juarez. Gunslinger. Игруха 13-го года. Давно в нее хотел поиграть, я ее играл, раза 3 проходил, но она стоит того, чтобы ее все-таки постримить. Дарк Ангел. Здорово. Привет всем, пацаны, заходите, располагайтесь. У меня не совсем с первого раза получилось ее запустить, потому что мои ОБС не хотели ее запускать. И я нашел способ, что можно игру в оконном режиме запустить, и тогда она захватит. Блин, как далеко-то он не стреляет, однако. Son of a bitch. Ништяк. Да, ништяк, когда со всех сторон смотрит. Аллилуйя. Это такие брат. Без обид, но напиши, пожалуйста, по-русски, я не понимаю. Я не только эту игру стримлю, я сегодня вечером пытался просто эту игру запустить, и она у меня запустилась только третий раз, когда я понял, что запустить. Через законный режим. А так нет, я стримил Ганслингер еще. Ну стой, он бы куда погнал. Нормально. хоть винтовку патроны.
Finally, they managed to corner me. Trapped as I was, the odds of my survival soon. Luckily, serendipity was on my side as I suddenly spotted a way out of my predicament.
Вовремя мне патронтасы как раз кончились.
I ran ahead as if the devil himself was after me. Bullets were whizzing by my ears, but I wasn't about to roll over and die. I just kept running like there was no tomorrow. Because there wouldn't be if Clanton and his men caught up with me. As I was scurrying around those caves, I thought, what was I thinking? Going up against a gang like this. Nowhere to run.
Когда то жалкое ничтожное чувство, когда нет патронов.
They were hunting me like I was game. I just kept running, not knowing where the hell I was going.
Where's he gonna run to now?
Серьезно, даже патрон нет. Нормально? Нет, ну я так не играю. У меня нет патронов. Но у меня что-то нету выбора, меня почему-то убили из-за того, что патроны кончились. Вы меня бесите. Как? Биться? Теме? Да мне тут не только жопа, у меня тут нагиб полнейший. У меня нет патрон. Единственное, чем я могу их бить, это копашка. Я дан. Да я знаю, что я дон. Я дно, а не дон. Так, сюда я бежал, значит сюда. Надо еще убегать. Да, скорее всего, только убегать. Слава богу. Вы, ребята, меня даже не видите. Тут произошло чудо. Мана упала с небес.
I found the desiccated remains of what looked like an Apache war. The old weapon next to it supplied me with some much-needed ammunition. Bat Masterson once told me it was more important to be lucky than good. And he would know. And imagine my surprise when I found a fistful of dynamite to go along with that ammo. That stroke of good fortune evened the odds and bolstered my confidence. It was time to turn the tables. Time for the prey to become the predator. Time for the hunted to become the hunter. Time.
All right, Jesus, we get it. They were right where you wanted them.
That's right, Jack. I was done running. And the old man's boys were not expecting that.
Я прорвался.
No, sir. I came at them like a wildcat. My fury knew no bounds.
Давайте навыки посмотрим. Давайте револьверные навыки докачаем. Быстрая перезарядка револьвера.
It was finally time for that old man to pay for his sins.
Опа, сейчас будет жопка, да? Макрот. Чертовски подлый старик Клентон.
I yelled out at the top of my lungs, Clanton,
Я иду по
I'm
твоей
coming
душе.
for you! A little stealth might have made more sense, to be perfectly honest. Because that old fool had a Gatling gun and enough bullets to last him till kingdom come. But I knew I could not let that deter me. Not if I was to find and kill Ringo. I needed to get that old man off that gun.
Я хочу добраться до тебя. Стрелять бесполезно. Надо только нажимать.
Most everyone thought it was the Ruales who had come up against him in Guadalupe Canyon, but it was just me.
Ну так нечестно. Вот динамит дал. Да, блин, я даже добежать не успел. Ладно.
Contraption jammed to death. Bring it on. Try me instead, you coward. Look at you yellow belly hot.
Не, ну что-то как-то я же его стрелял.
Hey, let's see what you made of, boy. Let's see that. Don't let me get away with that. You stupid dumb bitch.
Ну, им остался миллиметр, в принципе, я понял, как его теперь замочить. Я просто вам показываю, как тут красивые смерти.
Cowboys made it out of there alive and told Ike and Billy Clanton that it wasn't a Mexican who took their father's life that day. They just assumed it was one of the Earps. And that little misunderstanding eventually led to that legendary gunfight at the OK Corral.
Да, легендарная перестрелочка. Продолжим. Попадание в голову обычно фатально.
A few weeks after that dust up at the OK Corral, I was still after Johnny Ringo. I had tracked him and the cowboys to their hideout at a sawmill, and they were loaded for bear.
So, what exactly did Johnny Ringo do to piss you off?
Well, him and that other bastard.
Roscoe Bob Bryan?
Yep. They both deserve to die, and I promise I'll tell you why. But first I need to tell you about the Cowboys' new boss, Curly Bill Brocious. Earth's coming! Get ready, boys.
Давай. Ну, собака, дай пирожка.
Curly Bill took charge of the Cowboys upon the old man's demise, and after that gunfight at the OK Corral, the Clantons wanted revenge.
Перезарядка, пацаны. Я готов.
Take him down!
So they murdered Morgan Earp and grievously wounded his older brother, Virgil.
Я понял.
Get him from the side!
Wyatt and Doc went on what became known as the Vendetta Ride, hunting those outlaws down. So when I showed up, that's who they thought I was.
По-моему, это было глупо. Что-то он первый раз думал, блядь, после выстрелов.
were killers around every corner, all wearing red bandanas. That's how the cowboys identified each other. And I was beginning to wish I had one myself.
Me and you.
But I wasn't about to let Ringo walk away unscathed. And that's what drove me forward.
They say that Ringo was infernally fast.
I hardly saw anyone faster, boy. Certainly not Wyatt Earp. That man was all hat and no cap.
Earp wasn't much of a match for him, but Doc Holliday might have taken him.
That lunger should have kept his nose out of it. They never charged anyone for the murder of Morgan Earp.
But everybody knew that Curly shot him in the back. That was common knowledge.
Yeah, maybe so. But Ringo had nothing to do with it. He was just being loyal to a friend.
Is that what you call it? Being loyal. Well, to get to that loyal friend, I had to pass by some buzzsaws as big as a man.
Не, я не готов менять шестизарядник на обрезанный дробаш. Да и винтовку на дробовик тоже. Револьвер. Это святое. Давай. Тут меня слышишь,
Excuse me, sir. I have a question.
Простите, у меня
What's
вопрос.
that, Dwight?
After old man
После того,
Clinton
как старый
died,
Клентон погиб,
why
почему
didn't his son
ковбой
take over the
его
Cowboys?
сын?
Because Ike Clanton was dumber than a box of rocks and a yellow-bellied
Он
boot.
тупой, как пробка, ужасный трус. Проберитесь во двор. Тоже не проблема.
Now, where was I?
Taking down the entire cowboy gang single-handed.
Indeed I was, Jack. Though it wasn't easy, as those boys had good cover.
Это было нелегко? По-моему, это было легче легкого. Кривой какой.
Everywhere, piles of lumber, and God knows what else for people to hide behind. That really was one hell of a sawmill. Quite an impressive operation.
Нет, походу мне где-то здесь пробираться придется.
And where was Curly Bill? Did you see him?
I'm about to get to that, Ben. Patience. I'm painting a picture here. There was this beautiful waterfall and a crystal clear stream that led to a verdant valley that was truly...
Consider your picture painted. What happened next?
Well, finally the bastards that were still alive made a last stand.
Я ж правильно бегу?
Curly Bill, Johnny Ringo, and his compadres took off into the lumber yard, and I followed after.
Хлопнет. Зарядит и хлопнет.
Are you saying they ran? Cowardice was not in Ringo nor Curly Bill's nature.
No, sir. I never said they were running scared. They just wanted me out in the open.
Чем ударили?
Time to dance with the devil.
Братан твой дьявол.
You working for Wyatt Earp? Did that sumbitch Earp send you to kill
Кто
me?
же вот дьявол, парень? Покоцал его так. Бил. Херовый режим концентрации. Бил, ну сдохни уже.
Brocious gave me no choice but to
Он не
take
оставил
his
мне
life.
другого выбора.
But Ringo
Но
was
Ринго
nowhere
нигде
to
не
be
был.
found.
I knew you didn't
Я
kill
знал, что вы не
Ringo
убивали
because he was
Джонни
found dead in
Ринго,
a different
потому что
location
в другом месте.
altogether.
To this day,
Кто
his
убийца,
killer
до
is
сих пор
still
неизвестен.
unknown.
Indeed.
Да,
It
это
took me a
так.
few months before I finally tracked his ass to West Turkey Creek Canyon.
Опа. Следующий. Достанет руля, схватит пули. Джонни Ринго.
That's incredible, sir.
Нет, не
I always thought
Я
that
думал,
Doc
что
Holliday
убил
was the
Док
one that
Холлидей.
killed him.
Sorry I had to ruin the legend for you,
Прости, что
boy.
разрушил твою бездень,
But the
парень. Но
legend ain't
легенда не
always
всегда
true.
правдива. А в этот раз я выстрелил быстрее.
Doc Holliday had nothing to do with the death of Johnny Ringo.
Док Холлидей не имел никакого отношения к убийству Джонни Ринга.
I was paid a healthy bounty for Ringo and Curly Bill, and realized there was real money to be made.
Так, вы пока послушайте.
That's why I went after Henry Plummer.
Now, wasn't he the sheriff who augmented his income by shaking down miners and robbing gold shipments?
That's the one.
Oh, yeah, I remember him. He ran that gang of thieving outlaws called the Innocents.
So it's true that you went toe-to-toe with him?
Indeed I did, son. Indeed I did.
Немного освежим. Погнали.
I knew I needed resources if I was going to track down Roscoe Bob Bryant. Hunting Plummer looked like a good way to get rich quick.
Способом быстро разбогатеть.
As the local vigilantes exposed him as the leader of the bandits.
Спешка. Повышенная скорость концентрации. Будьте быстрее молнии, вы сможете двигаться и бегать на 50% быстрее. Неплохо. Гравированный рейнджер. Индивидуальная форма резьбы в стволе увеличивает дальность стрельбы и пробивную способность. Из такого оружия гораздо сложнее промахнуться. Плюс 25% к дальности, минус 30 к отдаче. Пожалуйста.
And put a generous price on his head.
Не?
Plummer rallied his gang to plunder one last gold mine before making their escape. And that's where I thought I'd
Блин, в
find
этой игре, по-моему, можно золотые диглы взять. Ой, золотые диглы, блин, золотые пистоля свои. Почему-то они до сих пор не открыты.
It makes me nervous standing so close to all these goddamn barrels of gunpowder.
Why would you be nervous? No one has the cojones to come after us. As long as you don't light up a cigar, we're fine.
Yeah, besides, George is up there on the rocks with that rifle of his. Nothing gets past him.
Чё? Убьем их по ваншоту.
Who the hell is that?
My late father pointed out to me more than once. God made men. Samuel Cole made them equal.
А, не в ту сторону. Ладно, я понял. Наверху, значит, еще крыс сидят. Гравированный рейнджер. Ништяк, 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 ништяк. Вот это мощь. Вот это сила. Ну чё, пацаны, вы уже с семьями попрощались? Так, я понял. Здесь надо стрелять очень аккуратно. Иначе Аллах Акбар можно устроить всем. А разве не отсюда зашел? А, вот.
I knew that dynamite wasn't mine, so I decided the polite thing would be to return it.
В смысле? Ты вернул? Как ты мог вернуть? Что в курице?
It was the biggest gold rush since Sutter's Mill in 48. Unfortunately, prospectors weren't the only ones drawn to those riches.
Вы можете стрелять.
There were thieves and killers, robbing travelers and hijacking gold shipments. Like those that ran with Plummer. Some were just regular folks I knew from town, drawn by greed and easy pickings. Charlie Crow was a blacksmith. James, who worked in the stable. Sam and Jeremiah Barber, the butcher's sons. Ordinary citizens who lived a double life. Stealing and thieving and murdering his neighbors.
Беги, я хотел сказать, беги.
If Daddy had lived to see Alfred Nobel's explosive invention, my guess is he would have told Samuel Colt to kiss his ass. Of course, the rest were veterans of the Civil War. Stone-cold killers trained on the bloody fields of Shiloh and Antietam. Plummer had a lot of men on his payroll. A hell of a lot. That son of a bitch pretended to protect the public with one hand while stealing them blind with the other. He set up a defensive perimeter which I had no idea how to breach.
Plummer wants that asshole dead. This is our goal now.
Так, буквально одну секунду. Сейчас, парни, 1 минуту. Погнали.
Dangerous, desperate individual. I was outnumbered and in way over my head, but I was too damn stubborn and stupid to realize it. I must have thought I was touched, or had some kind of death wish, seeing as there were barrels of gunpowder everywhere. One stray bullet, one stray spark, and I'd be blown to hell and gone. Did I have any second thoughts about what I was doing? No. I thought I was some kind of hero. I finally made it past and headed on to meet my destiny. But first, I had something I needed to figure out. I had a few ideas on how to get into that mine, but once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back. So my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense. It was the quickest way in, but that also made it more dangerous, as there would undoubtedly be enemy pickets posted along the way.
Plumber wants that asshole dead.
Besides, once you enter a mine like that, it's easy to get all turned around. And that confusing maze of corridors wouldn't even be the worst of it.
Куча запутанных коридоров.
Get around it! Some of those shafts can be as deep as hell. single stumble or misstep can easily end in a deadly plunge to oblivion.
И полет.
Must be about out of bullets. You ain't beefing me. I will drop you down a mine shaft. Time to blow your shit up.
Quick reflexes often make up for a lack of common sense. Luckily, I was never one to be easily bushwhacked. I would just need to be careful not to blow myself to kingdom come. With all that gunpowder and dynamite everywhere, a body has to know what they're shooting at.
Повышенный урон в концентрации. Во. Топовая хрень.
One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad-blasted tube. I freely admit that my plan of attack was not just moronic, but clearly insane. It's a good thing that I abandoned that ridiculous plan before I even tried it.
Один план мы продумали.
Instead, I spotted a
Вместо этого я
ladder
заметил лестницу.
way into the
Вот
mine from
внутри
the
шахты,
opposite side.
с противоположной стороны.
It was a long way around, but
Это
that
был длинный
approach seemed more
путь,
sensible at the
оказался
time.
менее.
Of course,
более
being I had a problem with
благоразумно.
heights, that scaffolding scared the bejesus out of me. The ladder required some caution, because even though I had a younger man's reflexes, no man can dodge a damn bullet while climbing down a rickety ladder. I needed to make a leap of faith. I was determined not to give up, however. As Sheriff Plummer seemed quite the despicable character. When the vigilantes discovered what the sheriff was up to, people were outraged. That 10,000 they put on his head would go a long way in helping me find old Bob. And I had made it my mission to settle that score come hell or high water. But first, I would have to make a choice. Take the elevator or climb the ladder.
Или полезть по лестнице. А что, есть вариант? Как... вот.
I picked the more convenient
Я выбрал
and more...
удобный и более опасный путь. Ой-ой-ой-ой. Я секрет просрал. Отлично, я разрешил решил вам себя убить, потому что я секрет просрал.
Was a mad dog killer, and the people of Nevada City deserve better.
Nevada City? Well, I thought Plummer met his maker in Bannock, Montana.
Right, well, he was the sheriff of both places at one time or another, but that's neither here nor there. The point was, taking him down would save a lot of lives, including my own.
Пора спускаться. По-моему, сейчас будет жопа. Законник. Бандит. А я думал, сейчас это подрывник типа. TNT, все дела.
Well, this day is just getting worse and worse for you, ain't it?
Henry Plummer was clearly unhinged, and I could see right away that this was going to take some doing.
Who said you could throw dynamite? You can shoot, but can you aim? They're gonna bury you in a million pieces.
Yeah.
No more money for you today.
Нажал. Да. Как так-то? Влево же. Влево же. Ладно.
shoot, but can you aim? I can shoot.
Чуть-чуть оставалось. Ладно. От одной вернулся, от второй сдох. Сдохни уже.
Him and his crew were worth their weight in gold.
Команда были на вес золота. Блин, как же сложно было быть.
I was officially a bounty hunter.
Сложный пес.
So, did you finally go after that Bob feller?
Well, I heard word.
Where in Kansas?
Abilene. Why do you ask, Ben?
No reason.
Was Hardin as fast as Ringo?
Ringo was fast, But John Wesley was as fast as the devil himself.
Дуэль номер 4.
Hell, he killed his first man at 15. From that day forward, he had a price on his head and wouldn't back down for nobody, not even Wild Bill Hickok himself.
Быстрый или мертвый? Погнали.
I dodged death many a time, and that night in Abilene was no different. I was there with the intention of finding that bastard Bob and collecting the bounty on John Wesley.
I thought the Texas Rangers got harder.
Yeah, that's what they want you to believe. It was colder than a witch's tit in a brass bra that night as I fought my way past his loyal compadres. To the very same saloon we're sitting in today.
То есть мне... все-таки зайти.
Look around and imagine this place painted in blood. Hardin was waiting for me.
Хардин-то, может, и ждал.
Wait, I'm jumping the gun here.
Let
me back up and give you some background on this son of a bitch.
Сыне.
He deserves that. Don't you think so, Ben? Wesley Hardin was a killer. By the end, he confessed to taking the lives of 42 men, fathers and husbands, brothers and sons, men with families who cared about them, families who put up money in hopes of finding justice.
Процент через мушку замедляет время. Давно надо было, по-моему, это вкачать уже.
He was a bona fide folk hero by then, and had amassed a gang of armed miscreants and other assorted thugs. He and his men set up camp outside of town, and I was hoping Bob was among them.
God damn it! Shoot that son of a bitch!
Shoot him! Shoot him!
They didn't ask why I was there.
Они не просто зачем я пришел. Они знали.
As most of them were wanted as well. I had to spill a lot of blood to find out Hardin wasn't in that camp. He was carousing in town with his closest friends. Hardin's boys apparently didn't want me to reach the Bull's Head. Some were hightailing it into town to inform their jefe of my unwelcomed presence.
дешевка.
I wondered if Bob was among them. And I steeled myself for the fight ahead. For as good as I was, deep down I wondered if John Wesley wasn't just a little bit better.
Наверх. Наверное, сюда.
Before I could test my mettle against Hardin, however, I would first need to dispatch his cadre of hired killers. Most of these degenerates were beyond redemption, but John Wesley might have been a different story. I didn't learn until later that that night was in fact his birthday celebration. Mentioned that I found Hardin in this very saloon.
Такая музыка прям воинственная.
Suffice it to say, nobody there was happy to see me.
Shoot him!
I felt a certain hostility.
Ладно, попытаемся заново. Забегаем внутрь.
Better hide.
I was disappointed that neither Bob nor John Wesley were among the dead. But that was short-lived. As a moment later, I was facing down the fastest gun in the West.
Запада. Что дышали. Джон Лесли Хардин.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him. No, wait! He didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it.
Он не попал в меня тогда, я уверен. Не, реально, он очень быстрый. Ладно, попытка номер 3 или 4 уже. Мы его замочим. А смысл набирать фокус, если мы уворачиваемся?
That man was faster than greased lightning. But being inebriated as he was, he didn't count his shots. And now, he was at my mercy.
So he didn't die?
No, I sent him to prison. Years later, after he was free, some restless Avenger took his life. Shot him in the back in a saloon just like this one. Anybody up for another beer? Ben?
Так нечестно.
Thank you, darling. Yeah, some say revenge is a dish best served cold.
So whatever happened to that Bob guy you were after?
Personally, I'd like to hear some of your other adventures. Like, I don't know, do you ever go toe-to-toe with a red man?
Грей Вольф, Серый Волк.
Yes, I did, Ben.
Yeah.
I remember once I was after this renegade Apache, Grey Wolf. Strangely enough, revenge was also his primary motivation.
начать игру, но...
A bounty was put on Grey Wolf's head, and that's how I came to hunt him in the mountains. Mountains so high they tickled the nether regions of heaven.
Давно-давно в далеких горах.
Grey Wolf was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. I understood his anger, as there's nothing more traumatic than seeing those you love die in a cruel and painful death. Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of young Apache warriors who wanted retribution and were more than willing to die for him. They saw me before I saw them. And it crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting has started, there was no backing down. It was rugged country, the winter home of the Chiricahuas, and that's why they had retreated there. I admit to having some regrets about going after them the way I did, but then again, I got a lot of those. Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout.
Больше консультаций.
A deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
That county went in there.
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure, angry cussedness. See, back then, I had a stubborn streak a mile wide, and I wasn't about to back down.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit, as they had torches on the walls.
His cave.
Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian Wars. They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
Вещей были призраки мертвых индейцев.
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones.
Согласен. Живые индейцы хуже.
So much about agents.
A few years back, I was married to two Mescalero women.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among the Mescalero.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. Both of them nagging at me all the time. Drove me half crazy. Haven't seen them since.
No, I mean, what happened with Grey Wolf?
Oh, well, I pursued him into the cave of death.
Преследовал, уходя все глубже в пещеру смерти. И наконец я его догнал.
I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows, and I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. As his story unfolded in my mind,
you will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if the eye had no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely snakes. And indeed, his warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me, though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk. I swear I couldn't see any way out of this trap. But suddenly, one just appeared. Kind of like a miracle.
Конечно же, не патроны. Не, у меня нормально.
I felt like I would be lost in that damn cave forever. Finally, I found myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice, overlooking a thundering whitewater river.
Лучше пропустим и побольше концентрации получим.
Chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo-jumbo is right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened to me. There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that, little lady. Steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me. And wouldn't you know it, that crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches surrounding me.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them. And in the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen
А мы
before.
пока вкачаем. Не знаю, чем мы вкачали. Труп штабеляем. Дополнительный урон для комбо. Not bad. Нормально, бревно такое взлетело.
I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air. Never did find him.
Я так и не нашел.
And never did collect my goddamn bounty.
Возрождение, блин. Спасибо, милый.
Malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not.
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand. Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of the right.
I did my best, sir. We all did. It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob two banks at the same time. Two banks on the same damn street. Story was Bob Dalton's girl was always writing him about how he had no ambition. Oh, you're nobody next to Jesse James, he'd say. Finally, the bastard took his brothers to Coffeeville just to shut her up. Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away, half the town took up arms to defend their property. Brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months. Now they finally had him dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. This man had no intention of letting the Daltons slip away. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually. We just gotta wait for something to reach out.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
But he paid him no mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting. From above. Fortunately, a water tower was right there. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did. It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
We've got company.
Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free. Like Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett, who died defending the Alamo.
Is that Silas Greaves? Son of a bitch!
Чего вам рассказать, пацаны?
You're a goner.
Over there!
Переиграем.
Over there!
That's Silas Greaves.
What the hell?
Blam! Blam! Came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons.
Бам, бам, бам. Куда теперь?
His name is Silas Greaves, and when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened.
Третий вариант событий.
It was early evening, not high noon.
К вечеру.
I was late to the party and Coffeeville was already up in
Я
arms.
припозднился.
Daltons blew up a safe and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies. I'd been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. But they still had friends in coffee for them.
Waste your bullets. Go ahead. Can you shoot around corners? Now you're in trouble. Ain't bothered me none.
Меньше больше пендрюс. Со щитом или на щите.
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me from all directions. I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose it. The problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths outfit. They were cousins of the Daltons, and they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons, which wasn't any surprise, because those two families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There's a hell of a lot of pissed off people in coffee booths, but that's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens.
Wanna see me do it again? Look at that son of a bitch!
Странно, что с первого не попал. Что теперь? Отправляйтесь в погоню за братьями Далтонами.
The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The third brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work.
Но ему не повезло.
It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silas Greaves. This is where it ends for you.
He was determined to protect his brothers. I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
Ой-ой-ой, больно.
Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeyville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him?
Кто потом наделал в нем столько дырок? То есть не мы.
That boy had grit.
Парня была железная воля.
We'll get those suckers.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this!
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track him to the ends of the earth.
They seemed as determined as me to find those outlaws. But as we headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
It was early fall, right? Beautiful time of year. At least you had the weather on your side.
Not by my recollection. It was damp and foggy as hell. It was tough to stay on a true course. So we kept an eye out for landmarks. It was autumn. The maple trees were in full color, red as blood. The rains that year were torrential, so the whole area was flooded. The vigilantes had spread out wide, and pretty soon I couldn't see anybody.
Bury them in the swamp! Let them where they stand!
Я предпочту умереть. Почему мне не дали сделать выбор? Легендарное оружие, револьвер с костяной ручкой.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet, but I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends. Had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff to their cause.
See if that chicken can fly. I'm blowing your ass up. They're gonna need a dustpan. And my reinforcements was nowhere to be seen. Point being, I was under serious attack. Kill Greaves! Bury him in the swamp. Well, luckily, a barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view. But just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running for the bushes. Of course, I followed them. But that goddamn swamp was like a goddamn maze, and pretty soon I had no goddamn idea where I was. Steve? So I just started walking, and pretty soon
Oh.
Историю рассказываю, но храпит.
Oh.
Steve? Steve?
Huh? Oh, no, I'm listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
Indians? There were Indians?
No. I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
No, I'm listening. I was just resting my eyes.
So, where was I?
The Daltons.
Right. See, there's a reason so many outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brother is a very sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
Bounty hunter! Stop that, son of a bitch!
Hey,
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet, but I did find a few of their cousins. You Kansans breed like rabbits. More Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what. But hell, what's more important than family? I bet Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Я вас даже не вижу. Нормально? Я с дробовиком.
Boys were out there somewhere, standing together against anyone who would threaten them.
Так, что там было? Дробовик? Нет. Они где-то здесь.
That's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat? In a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps?
Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was in that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high, and those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
So?
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Vince. I set out to do something. I do it. Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus, I'm stubborn as hell.
Золотые.
Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit. Huh? Turned out that they had me.
Take him out! I'm sending you to hell!
The Daltons had played me like a fiddle. Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean.
Yeah, but I was in a fight.
Did you hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world?
We're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed big. I don't think it'll even...
So anyway...
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
Oh, God.
But getting back to that steamboat, how'd you get off it, Mr. Greaves?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. It was time to settle this once and for all.
О, как говорю.
Democrat weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together. Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side. They got it wrong. A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds. Paroled 14 years later, he moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the tragic death of his two brothers.
Прокачаем еще потом оружие, перезаряжайте концентрации, потом будет полностью вкачанный револьвер.
My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told. It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch. I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains. Led by Butch Cassidy. They were a loose association of outlaws who robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana. Among them was the Sundance Kid, and that murderous hombre I was tracking, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Were you a part of that giant Pinkerton posse after the Wild Bunch?
No, boy. A circus like that would have slowed me down. Besides, I wanted Bryant all to myself. I'd heard about a large shipment of gold being transported to Wilcox, Wyoming on the Overland Flyer. They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop. Well, I assumed the Wild Bunch was likely in the still intact part of the train high above. I was determined to make that sumbitch Bob pay for what he did to my brothers.
ears are still ringing from blowing up that ridge. What'd you say?
Well, I made my way off unscathed and came upon a few members of the gang and had no choice but to dispatch them. From there, I had to negotiate an even more precarious route. But first, I would need to get my ass out of there. I jumped from the frying pan into the fire as the train was clearly fixing to fall. I had found the gang, but in order to find old Bob, I needed to fight my way forward past a whole passel of desperados. Outside, inside, any way I could, I made my way towards my prey.
Well, what about the passengers?
It was mostly a freight train, as I recall. There were no passengers aboard that day.
This asshole don't know who he's up against.
As I mentioned before, I am not fond of heights, but I was too busy dodging bullets to worry about falling to my death. Odds were I was likely to die that day anyway, so I was determined to take down as many of those bastards as I could. It was like shooting ducks in a shooting gallery. The only difference is these damn ducks shot back. I kept hoping the law would show up and give me a hand.
Like that giant Pinkerton posse that I read about. Did they come riding in, guns a-blazing to help?
Япона, матерь Божья.
Help? From the Pinkertons? No, son. I had to fight the wild bunch all by my lonesome, as usual.
Все. Ствол прокачанный. Что у нас тут вообще может быть потом прокачать? Подсказки о самородках, приближение при прицеле, задержать дыхание. Ну ладно.
guess is those dime novels didn't portray this as it happened, did they? Only a few stragglers were left. I had to cut them down pronto if I was going to stay on old Bob's trail.
Не видел, откуда стреляли.
Once I silenced all those guns, I went searching for my nemesis, determined to finally have my justice. But the only survivor who welcomed me was George Flat-Nose Curry.
Who's he?
The fastest gun in the gang. Right after Sundance, I mean. And Kid Curry, and maybe Elsie Lay. Though some folks might dispute that. On that very same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamped for South America. They ended up living down there for many years, but I'm sure you already know all about that. I tried to find Bob Bryant, but it was as if he'd disappeared. Sometime later, I heard the Wild Bunch was back together. Kid Curry escaped from jail, and now he was running the whole shebang. So I took to their trail, as I was still in pursuit of my brother's killer and hoped that he was back with him.
That Kid Curry's kind of crazy, ain't he?
Don't let him hear you saying that.
Anyways, I tracked those boys to a camp right outside Parachute, Colorado.
Who's shooting at us? We're under fire!
Being outnumbered, I didn't bother with a warning shot. I just started taking those bastards down. Old Bob wasn't among them, and neither was Kid Curry. I could sense him close by, however, plotting something nasty. I just needed a clue as to their whereabouts.
Что-то новый уровень так легко дается.
I found one. A map with their bold plan clearly marked. This time they were fixing to blow up a train trestle. Property of the Union Pacific. The plan clearly indicated how they were fixing to undermine several of the weakest wooden supports. Kid Curry was considered the wildest of the wild bunch. It was said that he fathered 85 bastard children, though some say it was only 5. Of course, I had to tread carefully. Otherwise, I could, well, die.
Ну да. А я не думал, что вообще... Я думал, можно и прямо идти.
Kid Curry had bragged to a whore how he was gonna rob a train heading to the U.S. Mint in Denver. And that whore, Fat Sally, she told me. The bridge was rigged with dynamite, so I decided I'd best be careful confronting those bastards. A moment later, I saw a ladder that somehow had escaped my attention.
Don't you blow us up now.
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
But the Wild Bunch did not take kindly to my presence and attempted to blow my head off. It appeared the kid had found a number of new recruits to bolster their ranks. Yes, there's always desperate men willing to trade their lives for stolen treasure.
What happened next?
Well, having removed the first bundle of dynamite, I decided I might as well remove the other one. Once that was done, I figured I'd find my way from there.
Слишком быстро пулю поймал. Попадают. Да уворачивай.
more of that damn dynamite.
It must have been terrifying trying to make your way across.
I was sweating it a bit, but then I noticed a footbridge tied up on high, so I shot the rope. Funny you should mention that, darling. As actually there was a fourth charge impeding my progress. Once I removed it, my path was pretty clear.
Парни, вот он. Да,
So I proceeded onward and realized that that way just wasn't gonna work. I needed an alternate path forward.
Найдите альтернативный путь к дальней стороне переправы.
Luckily, I found a cave, and as I made my way back to the bridge, I saw something that concerned me. It was a long burning fuse, and it was moving fast as hell. I had to catch it. The burning fuse was so damn quick, I had to run like the wind. I almost had it, but no. Thought I was gonna have a coronary when I lost sight of those sparks. My heart was pounding like a sledgehammer. Of course, I had to tread carefully. Otherwise, I could, well, die.
Get up! Get off the bridge!
I knew that failure meant boom. Then, finally, at the last moment. Whew. Of course, I was successful, or clearly I wouldn't be talking to you folks here today. Naturally, I removed that last dynamite charge. Well, it was a touching reunion. But by this time, I was thoroughly exhausted and dragging my ass as I was not a young man anymore. I hope you understand how badly my adventure might have ended had I not been as careful as hell.
Ну, блин, я же перепрыгнул. Я же нажал. сторону.
Finally, I found those boys, or more precisely, they found me.
It's Tracer and Kid Curry. It's me. Not even that fruitcake.
Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, Kid Curry opened up on me with a goddamn Gatling gun.
Когда ты уже понял, что дела твои плохи, дела стали плохи.
It's Tracer and Kid Curry asked me. Nuttier than a damn fruitcake.
ПРСТ.
Kid Curry opened up on me with a goddamn Gatling gun. It was hidden in this tunnel and pretty well shielded.
Не успел.
Located some dynamite. I still, however, had my work cut out for me.
Не получилось, ладно. Спалили всю затею. Понятно, если в руке передержать, она бабахнет.
brought that tunnel down. And that's when I met Kid Curry himself. He had decided to stop pussyfooting around and deal with me personally.
Вот что значит растерять фокус и скорость. Завтыкал немного.
As he was,
Я мог и раньше, но решил просто.
I was just a bit faster.
Прицел голой просто.
And as he lay wounded, I demanded to know the whereabouts of Roscoe Bob Bryant. He shouted at me. Is that what this is about? Bob went with Butch and Sundance to South America. You ain't never find him.
Ой. У меня, короче, просто, извиняюсь, игра немножко тормознула. Сейчас переделаем.
He shouted at me. Is that what this is about? Bob went with Butch and Sundance to South America. You ain't never finding him.
Ёпта. Ладно, сейчас я просто не был готов в какую сторону отклоняться.
He shouted at me. Is that what this is about? Bob went with Butch and Sundance to South America. You ain't never finding him.
Oh, блин. Попытки не пытки.
He shouted at me. Is that what this is about? Bob went with Butch and Sundance to South America. You ain't never finding him.
Надо понять, в какой сторону отклоняться. А я не стрелял. Я просто отклонился.
Those were his last words.
Ну, неплохо. Интересно, сможем ли мы пройти игру за один раз?
So, Bob Bryant got away?
I knew I'd never find him in South America.
What about the other killer?
Yeah, you kinda glossed over that one.
Well, I found Jim not long after my showdown with Ringo. At the time, he was riding with the James Younger gang. Did I neglect to mention that?
Jesse James? The greatest outlaw who ever lived?
Jesse and his kin rode with Quantrill when he raided Lawrence, Kansas, and killed near 200 people, boy.
Nothing great about that.
And from there, him and his brother went on to rob banks and trains from Kansas to Missouri.
Which is why there was such a rich bounty on their heads. 40 grand for both of them, dead or alive. That's one hell of a payday.
что у нас там? Поезд получается, да?
I confronted them as they were robbing a train. Bullets were flying at me from every which way. But I knew I'd have to fight my way forward if I was gonna find this gem.
They stop this train in the first place?
Well, the James boys were experts at this.
Такая прямо по легенде. Остановить поезд. Джесси Джеймс.
They hopped a freight train, having heard there was a big payroll in the express city. So I hopped the same train.
Но дайте мне еще раз шанс прыгнуть.
James' younger gang was decimated after that little fiasco they had in Northfield, Minnesota. So Jesse needed more men and took on the killer I was after, along with a host of others. I was hoping to find my man and put a bullet in his head. Climbing around that train, I must have swallowed 100 damn bugs before I reached
James'
that...
younger gang pulled the first train robbery west of the Mississippi.
Sounds like you hold them in high regard.
Everyone knows they were the most famous outlaw gang ever.
Then you took them all on by your lonesome. Again. I'm finding this all a little hard to swallow, friend.
Well, maybe you need to wash it down with some whiskey. By the way, did I mention that that train was flying down those tracks like a bat out of hell?
Я стоя оттуда сюда бы не попал, другую даже патрон не долетел.
Anyway, excuse me, Ben. Where would I find the gentleman's facilities? Suddenly I have an urgent need to drain my one-eyed snake. Well, I've had more than a few drinks, and I've been sitting here for quite a spell.
Right through there. Let me show you.
I never heard so much malarkey in my life.
You think he's bullshitting us?
You don't think he's Silas Greaves?
I think he's just some old drunk looking for some free liquor.
I don't know, Jack. I think I believe him. You don't think he met Jesse James?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That story makes no sense at all.
Jack.
I mean, you gotta be 2 bricks short of a load to believe that cock and bull story.
I don't agree.
Jack, lay off the
But you
bull.
seriously think that tired old man went toe-to-toe with Jesse James?
Well, that's better. Did I mention that this Jim was married to the infamous Belle Starr? Of course, I didn't learn that until later. Anyway, I made my way forward the best I could. Around the side, over the roof.
Жестко. Тут уже ладно, сам лох.
At some point, some sumbitch saw me and shouted out, "It's a damn Pinkertons!"
Сзади, да? Да ёб твою мать, ничего, я через раз в этом месте попадаю.
Now, I never worked for that limey cocksucker, but I guess they assumed I was one of his assassins. Those evil bastards firebombed Jesse's mother's house and killed his stepbrother.
Так, попытка.
Son of a bitch!
So it's no wonder each and every asshole on that train wanted me dead.
Everybody's always mistaking you for somebody else, aren't they? Why is that, I wonder?
Don't rightly know, Jack. I'm just telling you how I remember it.
I bet you are.
I came across a flat car piled high with logs and had to come up with a creative way to make my way forward.
Shoot that stupid son of a bitch!
I wondered if I was ever going to find the front of that train, or the bastard I was after. Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
Yeah, seems like you run into a lot of them.
Asshole?
Gatling guns.
Yes, I did. Now, I don't remember how I took it out. It was either a bullet or dynamite.
Where would you find dynamite?
Does it really matter, Jack? You're messing with the flow of the story here.
на ту кнопку решил присесть.
I was looking for Jim and shooting any son of a bitch stupid enough to get in my way. And that included Jesse James himself. There sure were a lot of men determined to die that day.
Yeah, you know you can't. You don't want to mess with us! Shoot that stupid son of a bitch!
It was then that Jesse detached the express car from the rest of the damn train.
Я думал, это просто типа... Матерь Божья.
See Jesse waiting for me, fixing to kill me so he could get away with all that money.
You had a showdown with Jesse James?
Of course he didn't. Everybody knows that Jesse was killed by Bob Ford.
Yeah, Jesse went out like John Wesley Hardin. Coward shot him in the back of the head.
Guess it doesn't matter how far you run, does it, Ben? Your past always catches up with you. Yeah, I didn't kill Jesse James. Just wounded him bad enough to convince him to hang up his guns.
What about that Jim fella? What happened to him?
I figure he was up front with a gun to the engineer's head. That bastard slipped away again. I'll tell you how I got him. But first I need to wet my whistle. After my showdown with Jesse, I continued to track his brother, Frank, and that sumbitch Jim. I followed those bastards into the high mountains as they were going to ground.
What mountains would that be?
Somewhere in the Ozarks, I believe. The perfect place to hide out from the authorities.
Ладно, пожалуй, на сегодня мы, наверное, закончим. Всем спасибо за внимание, что были на канале, пускай так поздно. Так, сейчас. В общем, всем спасибо, ставьте лайки, подписывайтесь на канал. Буду рад вашим комментариям. Всем спасибо, всем пока. Удачи.